Good morning, everyone. Today is Sunday, April 11th. This is Dave, the crypto consultant, coming to you from longitude minus 87.53, latitude 30.32. I am currently along the Alabama coastline in the United States. And down here, we had a massive hailstorm, which was a freak incident. We had 3-inch hail that literally came in maybe a 10 to 15 minute segment and destroyed many cars. This was just 2 nights ago. And quite an interesting development. Normally, you don't see frozen weather events down in the southern United States, and we did have one. Um, Interesting how these things can occur out of the blue. Now, getting to the crypto news, let's just look currently here at what's happened with XRP. I gave a story on XRP a few days ago. You can go back to David Dillard, the crypto consultant, in YouTube and find this. When we were reporting, XRP was at about the 52-cent level. It had been in the 30-cent level for a long time prior to that, and then suddenly, looking at the chart here around April 4th, we had a total breakout in XRP, and it has risen from 0.60 up to today's price. It's currently hovering around $1.37. It has hit, as you can see on the chart, it has hit as high as $1.50. That would be a 3x right there in the price, going from that 50-cent level where we first reported on it. That would be a 300% gain since the time when it was right at that 50-cent mark. That would have been right at the end of March. Today we're hovering in the $1.50, between the I'd say $1.30 to $1.50 trading range. There doesn't seem to be anything stopping Ripple from going higher, folks. It looks like there is a lot of excitement about this particular crypto. I'm going to have another story on it later. I just wanted to fill you in on the current action there. I'm going to do a story about the Flare network, about the FXRP token, which is an airdrop token. If you were an owner of XRP, and I believe it was that October 15th was the date given, if you were an owner of XRP at that time, you will receive a one-to-one airdrop of FXRP, which is the smart contract token that will be on the Flare network. I'm going to explain what the Flare network is. Okay, that's going to be another story. Now, today, we see some interesting things happening in the news. Okay, I want to focus your attention on this man. This is none other than, he is the founder of Binance. Okay, his name is Zhangpeng Zhao. Zhangpeng Zhao is a Chinese Canadian. He is the founder of the Binance crypto exchange. And Zhang has come out in a public statement and said that he has nearly all of his assets in cryptocurrencies. Now, what is his current value? We really don't know. The Binance exchange is worth billions of dollars. Zhang Peng has stated that he doesn't see any need for the use of money in his life. He does not even consider using fiat currency in any of his business dealings. He concludes that he can do everything he needs to do with cryptocurrency. So that is a statement coming out of Zhang Peng Zhao, a name that you will hear in the future, an important person. Now let's look at something else I want to show you real quick. We have the Crypto Fear and Greed Index. Now, I know that sounds like a fairly strange terminology to be using, fear and greed index, but these guys have put together what I think is a pretty good indicator. Now, what they claim is that when there is fear in the crypto world, particularly regarding Bitcoin, that the price is likely to rise from that point. When there is greed, and extreme greed is what it is currently right now, at 76 on their scale, on their index. 76 is called the Bitcoin greed level, or Bitcoin greed index at 76. They claim that that is a time when the prudent investor should be on the lookout. Now, that reminds me of an old stock trading advice that I heard a long time ago, maybe read in a book, that if your dentist ever mentions a stock, you should immediately sell it. Okay, that's kind of what this is about. Like when people are excited about Bitcoin, talking about Bitcoin, everybody wants Bitcoin, then it's maybe time to take some profits. Okay, I'm not saying sell out or get rid of it, but it might be a good time to shave off some profits and store them away in USDT or some other asset where if there is a retracement, you can at least maintain your profits. Now, there is another character, another person that is entered into the news, and it's none other than this man, Mark Cuban. Now, Mark Cuban is an American billionaire television personality and investor. Okay, his estimated net worth is over $4.3 billion, according to Forbes. Mark Cuban has recently made a statement that he thinks that Bitcoin is going to replace gold as a store of value for investors, that Bitcoin is better in some ways than actual owning gold, which I've been a gold investor for many years. It's frustrating being a gold investor because the price doesn't move. Now, there's a lot of speculation that the gold market, like the silver market, has been suppressed for many years. Okay, gold currently has an $11 trillion market cap. What that means is that as far as investment gold is concerned, there is $11 trillion worth of it out there. Okay, Bitcoin, on the other hand, has a $1.1 trillion net asset value. That is a fraction. That's about a tenth of what gold is worth overall. And Cuban maintains, though, that as far as a store of value and ease of acquisition and so forth, that eventually he thinks that Bitcoin will replace gold. Okay, that people will flock to it instead of gold. Okay, that's an interesting prediction by none other than Mr. Shark Tank himself, Mark Cuban. Okay, so let's move on to something else I want to talk about. Now, there was a report. If you want to follow Bitcoin, I highly recommend that you get on over to Twitter and follow Willy Woo Wong. Okay, Willy Woo is a very influential. He's an influencer, is what I would call him. He's an influencer in the Bitcoin world. Many people talk about Willy Woo. So go over to Twitter, hook up on his Twitter feed, and he will give you updates. Willy Woo Wong, I believe, is his real name. And you can keep up with that. Now, here's my story for today. Okay, since it's Sunday, I'm not going to go into the hardcore investment stuff. I'm going to go back. I'm a history buff. I want to talk about a little history with you. I'm going to talk about the Winklevoss Twins. Now, I call them, because their name is Germanic, I typically call them the Winkelvoss Twins, as in V as the beginning of the W pronunciation, which is the German way of saying it. But most Americans call them simply the Winkelvoss Twins. Now, you may remember there was the blow up. What essentially happened was that Cameron and Tyler Winklevoss. Now this is Cameron in this photo here. He looks exactly like Tyler, of course. They were 2008 Olympic rowers. Now, prior to that, they had been on the Harvard rowing team. Cameron and his brother Tyler. Okay, um, they have a father named Howard Winklevoss of, I believe, uh, probably New York. Um, they have Northeastern associations. Okay, I'm not sure if it is New York, but Howard Winklevoss is an extremely intelligent man. He is an actuary, and if you know anything about insurance, the highest level people in the insurance industry are what are called actuaries. Actuaries have to have extensive mathematical and financial training in order to do their job, and their father was one of these people, Howard Winklevoss. Cameron and Tyler were famous because when they were at Harvard, they founded a platform, really just a social media. But well, prior to the social media terminology, it was just a web page basically called Harvard Connection, and then it became called Connect You. Okay, uh, what happened was that the the Winklevoss twins were actively trying to promote their website as an idea for universities, for people at universities to be able to share pictures with each other. That was the basic approach. And I can remember when I was attending Tulane University in New Orleans, Louisiana, seeing students that were looking at the Tulane University version of this, the Connect You platform. And essentially, what it allowed you to do was to trade pictures with your friends of social events and things such as that. The Winklevoss twins were noted as being the founders of it, and they hired a man named Mark Zuckerberg, a kid, I should say, a kid at 19, 18 or 19 years old. Mark Zuckerberg was hired by the Winklevoss brothers to produce a better version of the system, to upgrade it, to make it more user friendly and likable. Zuckerberg, according to the Winklevoss twins, stole their idea. All right, now let's look at some history. Okay, so what happened was that the Winklevoss twins sued Mark Zuckerberg and reportedly received a settlement of $65 million. Now that was not all in cash. Okay, that was in, much of it was in early Facebook stock. So the Winklevoss brothers hold quite a bit of Facebook stock. Now the other thing, and this is the most notable part of their story, is that the Winklevoss twins, after their dealings with Mark Zuckerberg. Zuckerberg, by the way, of course, is the CEO of Facebook. A controversial figure. He went through this lawsuit. He was accused of stealing the idea of Facebook from the Winklevoss twins. There was a lawsuit. He lost the lawsuit. He had to pay them in cash and Facebook stock. Now, just the Zuckerberg story continues to be a dumbfounding story. In 2020, for instance, Mark Zuckerberg has spent in 2020 for his own personal security $23 million of Facebook money for his security. Okay, so if that doesn't scream paranoia, I don't know what does. I mean, $23 million. What kind of security is that? Does he have rocket launchers? Does he have missiles? Does he have Israeli commandos? I don't know, but you could literally build a bunker underground and live out your life as a Doctor No type character with $23 million a year. Okay, this is Zuckerberg. Now, when this suit was concluded, and the Winklevoss twins made off with this enormous amount of money, it was reported that they invested. Let me just get my figures straight here, folks. Okay, so the Winklevoss twins, uh, they bought into Bitcoin. No, I believe that they invested something on the order of about 16 to 20 million dollars out of the settlement. I think that is probably a debatable amount. Okay, I don't know exactly what they invested, but reportedly they bought 170,000 Bitcoin in the year 2013, and at that time Bitcoin was relatively unknown on the world market, and it was worth $120 per Bitcoin. Okay, so if you look at it now, if you took that initial investment of 170,000 Bitcoin at $120, that means that initial investment was worth something on the order of $20 million. Now today, with Bitcoin rising and becoming so important to the world all of a sudden, with the price at roughly 60,000 per Bitcoin, that means that the Winklevoss Bitcoin holdings would be worth an estimated $10.2 billion. Okay, $10.2 billion is what their Bitcoin holdings are worth. Now, what that works out to, and I ran the calcs on it just to tell you, they have had a 500x return. Okay, that means 500 times their initial investment of $20 million. Interesting in light of the fact that Mark Zuckerberg, even though he's estimated to be worth 114 billion, riding off the back of the Facebook explosion, particularly with the price of Facebook stock increasing over the years, his estimated net worth is $114 billion. Now think back, what was Facebook? Well, it was just a picture sharing platform, basically geared toward university students, geared toward the fraternity sorority crowd. And along comes none other than Peter Thiel. Okay, so who is Peter Thiel? Well, Peter Thiel is a German. Now he's considered to be a very influential person in the venture capital business. A German entrepreneur, Peter Thiel, gave Mark Zuckerberg $500,000 in, I believe, 2013 to begin developing Facebook. And when this happened, Facebook literally exploded, okay, making Zuckerberg a very wealthy man. So enough about Zuckerberg, okay. Let's get back to the what are the Winklevoss twins doing today? All right. Now here they are. This is Tyler. Tyler was also in the 2008 Olympics as a rower in, I believe, the same boat. Now, I can't remember if it was the Harvard rowing team or if it was the Olympic rowing team, where Cameron and Tyler were in the same boat together. If you can imagine these two as rowers on the Harvard rowing team together. And they were very good at what they did. They were very good rowers. And, of course, their father was none other than Howard Winklevoss, the famous actuary, the famous entrepreneur. Howard Winklevoss, a very low-key man, but he's done extraordinary things. So his two sons sued Mark Zuckerberg, took the money, bought Bitcoin. Now they own over $11 billion Bitcoin. They owned at the time 170,000 Bitcoins. Now we don't know if they've added to that, but they are considered to be one of the most notable whales. And when I say whales, I'm not talking about the country, okay? WHALES. They are whales, meaning that they have a large amount of assets in Bitcoin. They own reportedly 1% of all Bitcoin. So these two, we're going to see, I'm sure, in the future where they have done certain things. Now, Winklevoss Capital is a very interesting company. Company. Now, this person, Sterling Witka, okay, Sterling is the manager, so to speak, of Winklevoss Capital. Sterling is she is a notable person in the New York social circles. Um, she is an entrepreneur. She is a tech investor. Um, for instance, she's an advisor, an investment advisor to the Green Bay Packers football team. Okay, that's pretty interesting. She has a Bachelor of Arts from Stanford. She has no less than an MBA from Wharton, the business school at the University of Pennsylvania. Uh, Her resume is very impressive, and Sterling is one of the characters in this picture, along with Cameron and Tyler Winklevoss. This reminds me of some kind of a superhero scenario here. You've got this remarkable young woman here, Sterling, and you've got Tyler and Cameron, the former Olympic rowers who successfully sued Mark Zuckerberg, took the money. Well, they had 65 million, so we don't know what they did with the rest of it, but I can tell you what some of what they did was they created these companies. Now they have numerous companies, okay? They have consumer companies, they have crypto blockchain companies, they have what they call enterprise companies. Look at this, ADA Diamonds, Ada Diamonds, probably, I would imagine Ada had some reference to Ada selling. The same person that Cardano crypto is named after. Ada Aloha products company, AngelList. It is a way for tech entrepreneurs to meet venture capitalists. Arcus, another company, consumer finance. The Winklevoss Twins have become, in terms of business, I would say this is the next generation you're going to see after what would be the old, and I hate to even mention the name, but the Trump. Let's just go back to the Carl Icahns of the former days of the 80s, the Donald Trumps of the 80s. The Winklevoss Twins kind of represent to me the way things are going. Now, all of the Winklevoss family of companies, and you can see there's numerous ones with all different types of influences and reasons for being. Rise Coffee Company, organic nitrogen infused cold brew coffee, served on draft. I mean, how strange is that? Like, I mean, these guys are thinkers. They're smart. They're well funded, and even if none of this works out, they still own a fortune in Bitcoin. And I don't think that really is their main concern. They're not in it for the money. They've always had money, by the way. Now, Zuckerberg, going back to him, I do want to mention one thing. Okay, I've talked about this before. Now, Zuckerberg, he's had, excuse me for that double pronoun there. Zuckerberg has had his set of problems. Okay, now in 2019, Facebook was the target of a major hack. All right, this hack, according to this article in at bgr.com, when it was hacked, 533 million accounts were stolen from Facebook, and that could very well be you, listener out there. That could be you. What they did, they broke into the site. They gleaned it. They harvested the site for all of this personal identifying information in this hack and began selling it. You can actually go to certain places on the internet and buy downloaded Facebook data with people's numbers and access information and so forth. Zuckerberg got caught up in that, and they took Zuckerberg's phone number. Okay, that's I mean, this guy has $23 million a year going toward his own personal security, and his phone number was hacked from the Facebook website. So, of course, it's probably been changed, but can you imagine? I mean, that's like, okay, he left his phone number on Facebook. I mean, that's crazy, but he did, and it got hacked. Zuckerberg has been a controversial person for a long time. Now, like I've talked about with William H. Gates, Bill Gates, the founder of Microsoft, as well as Vitalik Buterin, the genius founder of the Ethereum network and the Ethereum cryptocurrency, along with others. Okay, you find this very commonly, believe it or not. Zuckerberg dropped out of Harvard University. He, I think he saw that he could make more money promoting Facebook than he ever could finishing Harvard and getting a job. So after he got the Winklevoss platform in his hands, he had worked on it, he knew how it worked. He went on to found Facebook.com. And then, of course, as I told you a second ago, Peter Thiel pumped in $500,000 when it was an early startup. Now, Facebook, I don't know what the total market cap on it is, but I'm sure it's got to be, it's not in, well, okay, I can tell you what it is. It is 44.644 billion US dollars is the worth, the value of Facebook. Okay, so, excuse me, Facebook today worth in excess of 44 billion. Mark Zuckerberg, his personal wealth is $114 billion. I mean, this is a very wealthy individual here, and a controversial individual, and a college dropout. Okay, that's what's funny about these people, like William H. Gates. I'd love to do a story on him one day. He was a college dropout. However, like Vitalik Buterin, who was a college dropout in Ontario, Canada, receiving an honorary PhD. I mean an honorary degree is one thing, but an honorary PhD from Basel University. Now that's Vitalik Buterin. Okay, he received an honorary degree from Basel University. Well, Mark Zuckerberg has received an honorary degree from his home college, his home university. In 2017, they decided to give him an honorary degree. So he never did the classwork. He never passed the test. He never turned in the papers. He never struggled like most college students do. But they gave him an honorary degree from Harvard University in 2017, I suppose, because he was successful at Facebook. I guess that's the reason. But nonetheless, this is a very controversial person, in my opinion, and certainly one that attracts a lot of attention, putting Zuckerberg up against the Winklevoss twins. What you have there is a total dichotomy of individuals as far as personality, as far as style, and I dare say it, and I may get in trouble for this, as far as ethics and morals. The Winklevoss twins, in my opinion, are trying to do good things, and I think Sterling is. I don't know how to describe her. I would suppose she could be one of the great American businesswomen. When we look back on it in a number of years, we'll look back and Sterling Witzka. Okay, you will hear that name again. Is the cohort of Tyler and Cameron. This is the A team. This is almost like I would think of probably a Marvel Comics script here. These two handsome-looking twins, Harvard University rowers, Olympic athletes, nonetheless, in the 2008 Olympics, along with the striking Sterling Witzka, and they have gone on to create hundreds of companies, mostly in the realm of fintech, high tech. As we look here, the crypto blockchain area, that whole sector. And when you read the descriptions of these companies, I mean, most of them are trying to do something good for humanity. It's just it'd be like August. I mean, I was just curious, what is August? Well, it's a smart lock that allows you to manage your home security, locking through, I guess, an app or something to keep people safe. They have lots of different companies that are out there on the cutting edge of the BlockFi or the fintech world. Zuckerberg is wrestling with these problems, having his Facebook site hacked and so forth. Although he actually probably, I guess, maybe worked more on paper. The Winklevoss twins, in my opinion, are worth a lot more as far as their influence and what they will do over the next few years in society. They've also created Gemini Trust. Now, in addition to Winklevoss Capital, they own Gemini, which is a major, that is a Bitcoin exchange, that is a crypto exchange that they own. And they do participate heavily in the Bitcoin influencer network, and they talk about things that are Bitcoin related. Okay, so let's just skip to some other stuff here real quick. Now, if we look at what's happening in Bitcoin, okay, this whole thing, Willy Woo has said, okay, well, right now we are hovering right at the $60,000 mark. Willie has he's officially called it a point of resistance. So you can see it doesn't take a genius to figure out that if you are topping out, forming a double shoulder pattern at the 60,000 mark, that is a point of resistance. However, Willie considers this a strong indicator. Okay, he's saying now that we could see perhaps by the end of 2021. I mean, I keep hearing these different figures. I don't know what to believe anymore. He's saying, Willie is saying, that we could hit $340,000 in the price of Bitcoin by the end of 2021, excuse me, 2021. Looking at the technical indicators here, where is Bitcoin today? Well, it is currently up for the 1 year, 12 months that we've been in trading. It is up 431%. So it's 4x on the 12-month indicator. If you look at the technicals on Bitcoin currently, excuse me, it is on a buy. The moving averages are giving it a strong buy, which is healthy. Okay, that's good news. That's really good news. You see Bitcoin being talked about in the news constantly. You see people that have come about now, for instance, suggesting the fact that Bitcoin could be a replacement for the physical gold. I mean, that's just a remarkable thing, according to Mark Cuban, that people might even bypass dealing with gold and go straight into Bitcoin. Now, I had an interesting little side note I wanted to share with you. England has some of the world's lowest returns on interest-bearing accounts. And I think currently the amount that you would receive if you put your money in the Bank of England in a what would be considered a savings account, you will receive something like 0.3% per annum, meaning every 12 months, the Bank of England is going to gracefully turn over 0.3% of your holdings. If you had 10,000 pounds in there, I guess you would earn, well, what would that be? Maybe 30 pounds or something. Contrary to that, there is a new company, and I don't have much information on it, called Ziglu. Ziglu. I suppose that's some reference to the word igloo. I don't know. But they now have what they call a Bitcoin savings account. Now, the interesting thing about it is that, and I am a huge believer and proponent in compounding interest. Okay, Albert Einstein once said that compound interest was the eighth wonder of the world, and that those who don't know about it will die from it, and those who do know about it will be incredibly wealthy because of it. Which, coming from Albert Einstein, a man who reportedly kept his paycheck, his bookmarks, was never really interested in making money at all, as far as I know. His wife used to have to go and ask him where he put his Princeton paycheck so that they could buy groceries. I mean, that's the way that's the way Albert Einstein was. Well, he did come out and say that compound interest was the eighth wonder of the world. Now, Ziglar has issued this new savings account in the country of England, in the UK, paying something on the order of 5.45% interest per annum. However, the difference is it is compounded every second. Okay, I said every second. Compounding can make the difference between a huge amount of money and just a little amount of money. Most bank accounts, for instance, most CDs and things like that, compound on an annual basis. Compounding by the second makes a huge difference. Okay, that is really remarkable. I've never even heard of anything that compounded by the second. But Ziglu in England, which is a savings account sort of setup that is based on the Bitcoin holdings of Ziglu, compounds at an interest rate of 5.4% per second. That's hard to say, but I've never even heard of anything like that. Very interesting. So what have we learned? Okay, we've learned today that Bitcoin is going up. We've learned a little bit about the famous duo, the Winklevoss Twins, and here they are once again. You've got Tyler Winklevoss, you've got Cameron Winklevoss, you've got their star attraction at Winklevoss Capital, Sterling Witzka. These are people that you will hear about. Then you have sort of the Dr. Evil of the whole situation, Mark Zuckerberg, a strange person indeed. a college dropout, Harvard University dropout. But even though he's reportedly worth $114 billion, and he spends $23 million in 2020 on his personal, not company security, his personal security. So, Mark Zuckerberg, you need to change your cell phone number. Obviously, it was pretty easy to hack that. I don't know what kind of communication system you have, but you better get those ground-to-air missiles ready out there in the desert or whatever you're doing with the $23 million a year, because your phone number was hacked. So I think that you could pay a lot less than $23 million to keep your phone number safe. We talked about Zhangpin Zhao or Zhao. It depends. In Chinese, they pronounce names backwards, or well, we pronounce Chinese names backwards would be more proper to say. Xing Xiaoping, okay, the famous entrepreneur who owns the Binance crypto exchange. We talked a little bit about this. I want you to be familiar with it, just so you know what it is when you hear it. The crypto fear and greed index, based on what they perceive as people's desire to either buy or sell Bitcoin. Crypto's new, now the old stock indicator, the Dow Jones Index, doesn't apply to cryptos very well. There is sort of a Dow Jones for cryptocurrencies, but this fear and greed index is an interesting thing to take a look at. And then today, studying what's going on here, we've been flirting with this $50,000 range in the price of Bitcoin, and we are looking at a potential move here. I would say, just from my experience, and I'm not a predictor. I don't put out there trading signals or anything like that, but I have seen these kinds of patterns for a long time. When a crypto consolidates at a certain level, and we're looking at 60,000 on BTC right now, the same thing happened at the $50,000 level. We had a consolidation. The same thing happened at the $30,000 level. When you see this kind of steady sideways movement, you have to remember there are people out there with money who are watching this, and they are thinking, should I get in or should I wait? Well, if the whales start buying, you're going to see a move up. And as I mentioned, Willie Woo, the famous commentator on Twitter, Willie Woo is predicting that there will be somewhere on the order of a $340,000 Bitcoin by the end of 2021. So if you are sitting on the sidelines, if you have money to invest, if you're thinking, should I do this? Why not take a small position? Okay, why not say, all right, I'm just going to take a tenth of my investment capital, whatever that is, and put it into Bitcoin. I'm not trying to sell you on it. It could go down. There's always risk, okay? You have to take that into account. But it has been leveling off. It is forming a double shoulder. And if you were going to get in on it, this might be a good opportunity. I'm saying might be a good opportunity. I make no guarantees whatsoever when it comes to cryptos because they are extremely volatile. But I'm just pointing this out. Then finally, I mentioned what's going on over in the XRP sector. In the XRP realm, we are starting to see some serious price movement. And if XRP continues on the trajectory that it's on now, you could definitely see quite a bit of improvement in that position, even though it's already what I would call frothy. I use the word frothy when something has gone up, which XRP has quite considerably. It has tripled in value since I first was giving my report on it down at the 50,000, I mean, excuse me, 50 cent level. It has tripled in value. So there could be some profit taking. If you look at the oscillator, you can see that it spiked last night at 2200 hours. It did spike, and so did the price. Just last night, while you were asleep, it hit the $1.50 mark. So pay attention what's going on there. If you were a holder of XRP prior to October of, or I believe October 15, 2020, you have coming to you the airdrop token for XRP. Now we'll see when I give you a report on the Flare network. We're going to learn what is Flare. We're going to learn how does that tie in with XRP and the Ripple net. How is the XRP new token going to be used as far as a smart contract? This is what their plans are. It's called FXRP, okay? It's a smart contract token. And they talk about, this is a strange term, folks, trustless, okay? That they use that terminology, all right? They say it is a trustless token. Well, I think what that means, let me see. I will give you more information on that later. But for just concluding this show, the XRP and the new one that should be coming on the market pretty soon. We'll see what happens with it. Now, Bitcoin did the same thing when it forked. I can remember the Bitcoin Cash and the Bitcoin Gold. Those were forks off of Bitcoin. It's somewhat similar to that. Okay, the XRP token that you're going to receive in this airdrop is called FXRP. It is somewhat similar to it, but it is geared more toward efficiency and use in smart contracts. So we're going to learn more about that later in a different show. I did want to mention that the Russian government, this comes out of Moscow, just released a report. This just came from a day or two ago that they are launching what is called the digital ruble. The digital ruble. Now, I do happen to know, just from my experience, that there are quite a few holders, large holders of Bitcoin, who claim to be Russians, okay, Russian billionaire class people like a Bitcoin very much, and I think the Russian government's probably seen this. Now, the ruble, as far as the currency goes, is not very well regarded. The ruble does not, maybe I shouldn't say this, in honor of some of the great things that are going on in Russia nowadays, the poor ruble has been beaten up and battered over the years, okay? It has seen some pretty down times. Now, what the difference is that Bitcoin is trading up at the $60,000 range, in the ruble, I don't even track it, folks. It is a sort of a not so important currency on the world market. So what I would predict is probably going to happen is that this digital ruble that is going to be issued by the Russian government is going to try to bridge the gap between the Russian currency and Bitcoin, and it will become an intermediary type cryptocurrency that could be used by Russian citizens, so to speak, for their transactions they want to make within the country of Russia, and maybe even on a worldwide basis. We don't know much about this Russian ruble, this crypto ruble, they call it. They'll probably have some sort of a name for it that we haven't heard yet, but the digital ruble Now, another story that I caught, which may be of interest to you, one of the world's largest real estate companies, Caruso Real Estate. Okay, Caruso is a major player in commercial and residential real estate on a very large scale. Um, what what they have announced, Caruso has announced that they are going to start accepting Bitcoin as payment for rent. Now that's on a commercial level as well as a individual residential level. And on their website, you can go in there and pay your rent in Bitcoin, which is pretty amazing. Um, I have a personal friend in Los Angeles who is in the Sunset Boulevard area uh, selling real estate, and she claims that they've been approached by investors, particularly from Asia, Chinese investors, Hong Kong type people, others from different parts of the world, but notably the Hong Kong buyers in the Los Angeles real estate market have offered Bitcoin in payment for property in the United States. So we're starting to see a lot of growth in Bitcoin. We're starting to see BTC become a replacement for gold, according to Mark Cuban. Um, Now, be aware that all of these things are subject to change. We are currently looking at a prediction that Willie Woo, in addition to his year-end prediction of 340,000, Willie Woo is also predicting a $90,000 price by May 2021. Well, we're currently at 60. I would have to ask, okay, if Bitcoin doubles in price every quarter, like they say, is Willie Woo right? Or is Willie Woo possibly underestimating what could happen? Because $90,000 is only 30 away. That's not that much in the crypto world. I mean, that could be done in just a few days. There is a remote possibility that Bitcoin could suddenly hit a stride here and exceed even Willie Woo's prediction and exceed $90,000 in price for May. We'll have to see. Nothing is for sure. There was an interesting development, by the way. There were a group of investors, okay, that shorted Bitcoin on the futures market. They had something on the order of $20 million invested in a short position on Bitcoin. And Bitcoin, when it made this last rise, where it went from 38 up to the 58 range, wiped. We call it wiping when you have a futures contract that goes against the market. They got wiped on a $20 million trade. That is significant. I would never short Bitcoin. Okay, even though it does go down, the idea of putting a futures contract in a negative sell position on Bitcoin to me would be, you'd have to convince me to do that. Okay, I just wouldn't do it on my own. One other thing I was going to mention. Okay, we talked about the digital ruble. We talked about Caruso Real Estate. I think that, and the greed index and so forth. I think that about wraps it up for today. I wanted you to know a little bit about the controversy surrounding the Winklevoss Twins. I'm big fans of the Winklevoss Twins. Now, they are reportedly also, um, I guess, followers, proteges of none other than Sir Richard Branson. And I think he's officially Sir Richard Branson nowadays. Richard Branson probably promoted his business style to the Winklevoss Twins. Richard Branson owns hundreds of companies for all different kinds of industries and reasons, but he probably was the one who promoted this idea of having multi business entities under one corporation umbrella, and Winklevoss Capital proves that. I should do a story on Richard Branson he's a fascinating figure. He's along the lines of these people like Justin Sun, for instance, Jack Ma, the founder of Alibaba.com, Justin Sun being the founder of the BitTorrent network and the Tron network. Sir Richard Branson is definitely an interesting figure that we will do a study on one day. Um, that is it, folks. I'm signing out. This is Dave, the crypto consultant, coming to you from the lower portion of Alabama in the United States of America. We are currently at 10:36 Central Standard Time in the U.S. That it would be 10:37 UST minus 5. Currently at latitude minus 87.53, 30 or no longitude, and then 30.32 latitude. I will be reporting to you the next time I have a show ready. I don't want to be on a regular schedule. Life is too busy. There's too many things going on. We don't have the ability to schedule a regular time slot or anything. But I will bring these reports to you when I collect enough information to make it worth your while to listen. Please go to my Facebook page, The Crypto Consultant, and like it, and you will receive updates on a regular basis of what's going on in the crypto world. Folks, have a great day today. Spend time with your families. Enjoy this beautiful Sunday. At least it is here down in the southern United States, a very beautiful day. Tell people that you love them. If you have children, if you have a wife or husband, if you have a partner, if you have a mother, a father, anyone, why not tell them that you love them? It will do them a world of good, and it's not going to hurt you one bit to say that. And I hope that you do love them. And if you don't, there's things you can do to correct that situation. Okay, we all have forgiveness is something that we all have the ability to do. But have a great day. Have a great week. I hope it's a profitable week for everyone. Stay tuned for crypto news, and we will keep you updated. This is David Dillard. I am signing off for today, Sunday, April 11th. Thank you very much for watching.